Chapter 4 Fixing the Future. Big Tippy has set his Tinkle Time travelometer for Sunday afternoon, October. 4 years in the future, he arrived as usual in a giant ball of blue lightning that grew bigger and bigger until it exploded in a blinding flash. What? What is going on out there? cried Tiny Tippy. I can't see a thing. Shh, shushed Big Tippy as he shoved the Tiny Tippy down into the deep, dark depths of his jacket pocket. Big Tippy, listen carefully. He heard the voice of a child muttering, "This can't be good." Tippers unzipped the zipper of his robo pants and peeked out. To his delight, the world looked like it usually did. No destruction, no giant zombie nerds, no moon rocks. Everything seemed pretty normal. Hey, Professor Poopy Pants! Hey, it's Professor Poopy Pants! Shouted a boy whom Tippy recognized immediately. Suddenly, two cops standing nearby started to laugh. Which argued Tippy. "Stop laughing!" shouted Tippy. "My name is no longer Professor Poopy Pants. I changed it to Tippy Tinkle Josses." The cops laughed harder. "And I've got a special surprise for nobody who thinks my new name is funny," said the furious professor. Tippy pressed the button of his Freezy Beam 4000, causing it to rise from the depths of his robo-pants. He set the freeze ray for 20 minutes and zapped the cops, transforming them into frozen statues. My Freezy Beam 4000 will take care of anybody who stands in my way," said Tippy. "And now," he said with a wicked smile, "it's time for my revenge!" "Oh no!" screamed George. "Here we go again!" screamed Harold. Tippy chased George and Harold and their two pets, Sue and Crackers, through town, zapping his Freezy Beam 4000 at them and laughing maniacally. The chase lasted all afternoon and into the night. The four friends hid behind buildings, into trash bins, under bridges, even down in the sewer. But it doesn't matter where they sought refuge, because Tippy Tickle Trousers always found them. By the morning of the next day, our heroes had found a hidden place behind some bushes near the park. "What are we going to do?" whispered George. "There's nowhere else to hide." "I don't know," whispered Harold. George and Harold looked at their two pets, shivering with them in their morning moist. "We're not going to make it," whispered George. But there's no reason that Sue and Crackers have to suffer. But there's no reason that Sue and Crackers should have to suffer. Harold's eyes began to water. "You're right," he whispered. George and Harold put their two friends sadly, and they devised a plan to return to the dinosaur age. We could have the purple pie. "We could use the purple pie to take Crackers back home where we found him," said George. "Yeah," said Harold, and someone could stay there with him. They'll both be safe." As soon as it was clear, the four friends sneaked from the bushes and headed for Jerome Horowitz Elementary School. carefully avoiding major streets and intersections. It was almost noon by the time George and Harold and their two pets reached the school, constantly to sneak through the front door of the and dash up to the stairs of the library. "Hey, Bubs!" shouted Mr. Crump angrily. "Where have you kids been?" George and Harold looked down and saw Mr. Crump carrying a large cardboard box. "Well," Mr. Crump shouted, "get down here and explain yourselves." George and Harold looked at their two pets and continued running upstairs. Mr. Crump was furious. His day hadn't started out very well. For some strange reason, all the red curtains in his office were been disappearing, and he wasn't happy about it. So Mr. Crump had driven angrily through the store to the store and bought a replacement box of curtains. Started a big fight with the cashier. Got a flat tire on the way home. And now his truant students were bringing animals into their school, ignoring his commands and running up the stairs. "You kids get back here!" shouted Mr. Crump as he chased after the four frightening friends. George and Harold and Crackers and Sue raced to the top of the friends. George and Harold and Crackers and Sue raced to the top of the stairs, dashed into the library, and locked the door behind them. There they behind their old troublesome nonetheless. The Purple Pie is a homemade time machine that has a few quirks. To say the least about, and our heroes approach it constantly. "Do you remember how to use this thing?" asked Harold. "Of course," said George. We just used it yesterday morning. All I have to do is to reset the control for 65 million years ago. Then pull down the chain. Easy squeezy mac and cheesy." Suddenly, Mr. Crump reached the library door and struggled with his locked doorknob. The boys heard a shuffling sound, followed by the jingle of keys. "Let's boogie!" said George. The four friends climbed into the Purple Pie, and George closed the door, and that very moment, Mr. Crump came crashing through the library door with his box and red curtains. He ran to the Purple Pie and banged the door. "I know you're in there!" he screamed. "You can hide from me forever!" "Hurry!" cried Harold as George fled with the controller. "We got to get out of here!" "I'm working as fast as I can," said George. Suddenly, a gigantic dark shadow filled the library. Mr. Crump turned to see a huge robotic pair of trousers at the window. The zipper unzipped, and Tippy Tinkle Trousers peeked throughout the carnivorous opening. "I've got you now!" he shouted. "Ha ha ha!" Tippy reached for the button of his Freezy Beat 4000 as Mr. Crump cowered in terror. At that very moment, George flashed and setting the controller for 65 million years ago. Then he pulled down the chain. All at once, there was a brilliant flash of green light, and the Purple Pie, along with Mr. Crump and his cardboard box, disappeared into the whirlwind of electrified ozone.